Buenas noches, aloha, konnichiwa, and hello. Welcome to another episode of Common Madness, where we discuss the ills of the world in a controlled environment. As you can see, I have no one within 6 feet of me, so I can do this legally. Now, let's get started today, people. I have a great show. A1 has been doing a lot of reading. First of all, let me say that reading truly is fundamental. You don't know how much stuff they can hide, people, in a book or a contract that you may not catch if you don't know what you're looking for or if you don't know how to read. I think reading was one of the main reasons why they didn't want slaves to be able to read, because if they knew how to read, they would not have listened to the church sermon where they tried to use biblical scriptures to back up and defend their treatment of the Negro people at that time in the world, or any slave for that matter who was over here. Because let's face it, people, we had more than black slaves. We had Chinese slaves. We had all kinds of slaves, okay? I have to say that because there are a lot of people that are under one notion, whether it's true or not. It may be true, but it is also false on another end. If you dig deep enough, you begin to see that not all dirt is brown or black. There is gold dirt, there is white dirt, and there is red. Isn't that amazing, people? Now, the title of this show is going to be The Cost of a Secret and the Weight of a Lie. The cost of a secret and the weight of a lie. Before I go into any details any further into this discussion, let me make a phone call that is going to lead into exactly what we are going to discuss tonight. I hope you all are ready. You have your popcorn, your apple juice, and the kids are put away, because we're going to get serious tonight, people. We're going to talk about the stuff that nobody wants to talk about, because that's what A1 does best. Now, going to call up a friend of mine, see if his ass picks up the phone. Okay. That's a good sign. It's ringing. Hey, my man, what's going down? I'm chilling. I'm doing my show, Common Madness, right now. I hope you don't mind me having you on the phone on live television.
No, you good.
Okay. I have one question for you, and then I'm gonna get out of your head because I know you got stuff to do. You know what I mean? But let me ask you something, brother. If you didn't know anything about Black Lives Matter, the movement, what would you say about it?
Well, here's the thing. I do know about it, and I know about it from its beginning. And from its beginning, like, a lot of people don't know.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
From how it started.
Just tell me what the general consensus is as far as the belief of what the organization does and is.
Oh, people believe that they somehow assist with liberating black people from white supremacy, basically. That they're fighting the cause for us, that they're out here lobbying for us, somehow using their donations to influence politicians and lawmakers and things like that. That's what the consensus believes.
Let me ask you something, brother. Have you seen minivans of mothers, fathers with Black Lives Matter written all over when you go to the grocery store?
Say it one more time.
Have you seen minivans or any people with cars? You know how they got the graduated 2020 honk type of thing? You see it in the suburbs because everybody's happy they graduated from high school. Bumper stickers, Black Lives Matter. Like, they're families with this on their cars, aren't there?
Yeah, no, I've never seen that.
I did. That's why I brought it up. Okay. All right. Look, I'll talk to you later, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, caller. Well, folks, you heard it not from me, but from the horse's mouth itself. People are under the influence that this is a positive organization for the black man, the black youth, and the black male. Of course, I said man, but I want to say it a bunch of different ways because I don't want anyone to get confused. Now, What I'm going to ask you next is how many people have actually read their mission statement on the Black Lives Matter website? Engineer, you a black man like me. Did you read the mission statement on their website? Did you, my Latino brother?
Yes, sir.
You read the mission statement.
Yes, sir.
He's 1 out of 3 because I didn't read it until my homeboy told me about it. But we're not going to get into that just yet. What I want to do today is contrast the NAACP and Black Lives Matter. We're going to go directly to the mission statement and the objectives for both sites. We're going to have a look at this thing, and you tell me what you think, because maybe I'm not reading it the same way as you are. Okay? So, what I want you to do is, you don't have to participate. I'm going to put this phone up to this camera so that you can see without having to lift a finger, because I know how you people are since the invention of the microwave. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to Google the Black Lives Matter website, because I don't think a lot of our brothers, sisters, anybody may have read what they're about. Okay? I just don't think they have. Okay? So, let me see. Let's get to this one about, what we believe. First of all, let's say this. It was started in 2013. At the same time, there was a death of Trayvon Martin. All right? George Zimmerman killed him. And inspired by this 31-day take, let me read it to you, actually. So, what they're saying is, Black Lives Matter began as a call to action in response to state-sanctioned violence and anti-black racism. Our intention from the very beginning was to connect black people from all over the world who have a shared desire for justice to act together in their communities. This sounds very positive, I must say. Okay, let's skip though. Enraged by the death of Trayvon Martin and the subsequent acquittal of his killer, George Zimmerman, and inspired by the 31-day takeover of the Florida State Capitol by Power U and the Dream Defenders, we took to the streets. So they literally are saying, people, that they started this movement because of the death of a black child who was killed by a Latino man who looked white, because George Zimmerman was Spanish. I think he's half Spanish and white. Anyways, it's besides the point, a little trivial right now. But it does say something, because they seem to appear whenever there is total turmoil, calamity, and chaos. That's what these people do. Okay. Ferguson helped to catalyze a movement to which we've helped give life. Organizers who call this network home have ousted anti-black politicians, won critical legislation, and yada, yada, yada. But let's skip down to the real meat and potatoes of the message. Because you can bury things in contracts, you can bury meanings in books, you can bury people in the dirt if you dig long enough, and no one will find it on the surface. You have to dig. Now, here's what they say as you go down through the article. They say, we are guided by the fact that all Black Lives Matter, regardless of actual or perceived sexual identity, gender expression, economic status, ability, disability, religious beliefs or disbeliefs, and immigration status or location. We make space for transgender brothers and sisters to participate and lead. We are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folk, especially black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. We build a space that affirms black women and is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. People, I'm no genius by any means. I do a lot of dumb things, all right, because this is how A1 learns. I learn from making mistakes. A lot of great men before me are the same way, and they will be the same way after me. Some of us have the ability, or let's not say ability, the privilege of having someone to hold their hand while they go through life. Others of us must trip, fall, and learn. That is where the sinkhole is. I am one of those people. I could not figure out for a long time why I felt the way about this whole thing until I read their mission statement. Let me read it again, just in case you didn't hear what I said the first time. We are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folk, especially black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. Now, people, those are a lot of big words for those of us who are not learned men. Let me go to my thesaurus, glossary, dictionary, Webster's, or my own brain, and let me define what cisgender means, actually. So, cisgender means denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender correspond with their birth sex. In other words, people, if you have a penis, I am a man. If you have a vagina, you are a woman. Now, who would identify themselves from these types of things or labels? I don't know. But somebody is. I'll tell you that for sure. Because these people seem to be having a kick out of saying what they're not, even though what they are. Let's not get into the legal jargon of the statement, though. Let's just look at the definition for what it really is. Denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender correspond with their birth sex. Meaning, you identify with what you were born as, not what you think you are. Let's continue to read their objectives yet again. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so that they can mother in private even as they participate in public justice work. So literally what they're saying right there, people, is that they give the kids a babysitter while the parents go out and protest and do God knows what else. Skipping down another paragraph. Listen to this, people. We foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking. Or rather, the belief that all in the world are heterosexual, unless she or he discloses otherwise. Now, there are a lot of mothers, daughters, and sons who were born from heterosexual unions that support this organization. But if you read what they just said, they are not for supporting black men. They are for supporting transgender people, homosexual people. I hope I'm politically correct the way I'm saying this stuff, people. But I say homosexual. I don't say gay. They're homosexuals. Whatever you want to call it, though. The left, okay? But from what I just read, they don't support black men at all, it seems like. Now, I'm not saying that what I'm saying is against what they are. I'm just saying from what I just read, doesn't seem like this is a group for the modern, that's not to say modern, the traditional family structure. This is not for man, woman, and child. This is for woman, and child, or man, dog, and child. But whatever it is not traditional. And the fact that they are using black men, any calamity that gets publicized, to come out and basically push their agenda. I have a problem with that. I don't know if you do, but I do, because I know what they're really saying. Okay? Because the truth of it is, if you don't have a man and a woman, you cannot make a child. Naturally, scientifically, you can. Okay? But that also destroys the natural family structure, and it turns it into something else, of which I don't have a name for yet, because they have not came up with one for it yet that I'm aware of. I want to do something, though. I want to talk about the NAACP, because what it seems like to me that's going on right now in front of our very eyes is that the Black Lives Matter movement is becoming the new modern day NAACP for black folks. Remember when I told you guys a few weeks ago that the civil rights movement is literally dead? Because you've got a lot of imposters and people who are using it as a means to loot, destroy, and kill. I guarantee you, folks, going back to what I was saying in my previous episodes, those people who were destroying all those black businesses in Minneapolis were waiting for a chance to do it without going to jail or getting in trouble. Okay, I think it's clever, but I don't like it. And I don't think you should either. All right? I really don't. But this all goes back to George Floyd, who I also previously mentioned on past shows may be connected to the Freemasons. I'm not for sure. No one is. Because if I was, I probably wouldn't be here now in front of the camera. I'd be somewhere else. All right? One thing that I didn't mention, though, from the last episode that I did, was the mysterious tattoo on George Floyd's chest. And I'm leading into something because it's all connected, people. Now, George Floyd was not a learned man. He has a jail record for armed robbery. He's been in several porno films. And he's also done work as a security guard. Very interesting life, kind of eclectic, but not in the way that you would think. When you go to George Floyd's chest, he has a tattoo. People, this man didn't go to college, graduated high school, but he has a tattoo of Latin on his chest. Now, if it was Veni Vidi Vici, I would go with it because that was on Ja Rule's CD cover. But it was not I Came, I Saw, I Conquered. His was a little bit different. His was a little bit more peculiar. His tattoo said Ordo Ab Chao. Now, what in the world does Ordo Ab Chao mean? One. And then two, who told his ass what it meant? And then three, why would he get that inscribed on his chest? Tattoos are like inscriptions on tombstones. They go with you to the grave. When you get a tattoo, most of the time, if you're not drunk or it's not on a wager like Post Malone did when he bet Mahoney that he would beat him in beer pong and he had to get his autograph, him and the other guys, I forgot the other guy's name, autograph on his chest in a tattoo. But no, this didn't happen to George Floyd because he didn't know anybody. And he wasn't drunk, I don't think, when he got this, because this actually happens to be, people, a Masonic phrase. Now, what it means is order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. Folks, when you hear this, it just takes me directly back to when I first heard that George Floyd was murdered by that cop who murdered him, who actually also happens to be in the porn industry, except for he is a gay porn star. It's a lot of interesting coincidences with this whole thing, all right? Because a lot of people aren't aware of these facts. But A1 is going to give it to you, and I'm going to give it to you raw like the ODB, because that's what I like to do, okay? That's what I like to do. So, Ordo Ab Chao, people, what would possess this man who never had a college degree, only attended prison classes, and maybe barely even went to high school get this tattoo. That's Masonically affiliated. I don't know. And I don't even understand why he had 4 funerals. One in the north, one in the south, one in the east, and one in the west. But what I do understand, people, is that after he was murdered, after that man put his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, there was total and utter chaos in the whole United States. And also, there were protests, marches, and riots in other countries. Now, you tell me what the hell is going on, because I need some answers. And I know a lot of our other tax-paying citizens do too. All right? Because we've got to foot the bill at the end of this mess, this carnage that occurred because this man was murdered. But the tattoo is very, very fitting. Order out of chaos. And what are we in right now, people? Chaos. Without a shadow of a doubt, I've never seen the country in this much turmoil in my life. Even when Martin Luther King was murdered, there were riots. When Rodney King was beat, there were riots. But it was never on this level. Ever. We didn't have worldwide protests. It was not this organized. I believe, people, there was a deeper force behind all of this, a deeper meaning to this catastrophe that we are living in right now, that we are forced to endure. I believe so, because there is no other explanation. There is no other story, book, meaning behind it. We just haven't gotten to the right chapter in the book yet. But I'm quite sure when we do, we're all going to be amazed. Now, getting back to the NAACP, which was started in the winter of 1909, let's look at the members and contrast them in comparison to the Black Lives Matter movement. And we're also going to look at their webpage and see what their objectives are and what do they stand for. We're going to take a quick break, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, people. Welcome back. So before we move any further, I want to show you the picture of the tattoo on George Floyd's chest. Engineer, do me a favor and show it to everybody. You see what that is, people? Now, you all may not be able to understand what that is, but that is the two-headed eagle, the symbol of the Freemasons, right there on his chest. The only thing that you cannot see is the inscription of Ordo Ab Chao, which his tank top covers up very conveniently. It probably, let me see, it's such a fuzzy little picture. I'm going to see if I can find a better one, but that is the two-headed eagle, people, and that is the Masonic symbol for the organization known as the Freemasons. What I want to do, though, right now is I want to pull up the NAACP's mission statement. I want to show you what it says, okay? I want to show you. Okay, here we go. So if you want to do it yourself, you go to naacp.org. You click on About the NAACP, and what it does is it gives you a rundown of their history, okay? Now, it starts off with what I'm saying, that they were founded in 1909 in response to the ongoing violence against black people around the country, okay? It says that the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, is the largest and most preeminent civil rights organization in the nation. The NAACP is a C4 organization. Contributions are not tax deductible. Okay? But if you contribute to their NAACP empowerment programs, those ones are. Okay? They also have a legal defense fund to defend black people who are wrongly accused and subjected to imprisonment by the police force due to skin tone and racial inequality and discrimination. Okay? The vision of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, now this is very important, is to ensure a society in which all individuals have equal rights without discrimination based on race. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Because this is what it should be. All right? Now, the objectives, which are the most key component of an organization, because these are the morals and laurels that it is built on, that they stand on, and that they are. First bullet point, to ensure the political, education, social, and economic equality of all citizens. I like that. I can get with that. To achieve equality of rights and eliminate race prejudice among the citizens of the United States. I can get with that too. I like this. To remove all barriers of racial discrimination through democratic processes. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent, but I still like it because it is for the black people. It's for the people if you are being discriminated against, no matter who you are. Okay? And then to seek enactment and enforcement of federal, state, and local laws securing civil rights. They are not against the government. They are working with the government to make sure the government does what the government is supposed to do, people. Okay? And then we have to educate persons as to their constitutional rights and to take all lawful action to secure the exercise thereof and to take any other lawful action in furtherance of these objectives consistent with the NAACP's Articles of Incorporation and this Constitution. Folks, this is night and day. When you read the Black Lives Matters objectives, statements, it's not this. It's something totally different. And the truth of it is, I don't think people would stand with the Black Lives Matter movement who are not transgender, non-cisgender believing people, if I'm using the word correctly, because people basically who don't believe that what they were born as is what they are, okay? I don't think a lot of families would be behind this. I don't think mothers who are normal, not normal, let's not say normal. There is no normal. There is no weird. It's just subjective to what you believe and what you think you are. Okay, let's get that straight right now, because I know a lot of you people who are going to watch this eventually one day. You will try to twist A1's words and you will try to make him out to be something that he is not. I will not allow you to do that, because I'm going to hit the nail on the head right now for you. Now, I don't think a lot of families would back this, because the truth of it is, if what they are saying, if you're for this, then you are for the destruction of the black race and the black man especially. Because if you go back and you read that mission statement that I read from the BLM, it's literally, that's what they're saying, people. And so they were donated to the tune of $100+ million by people who never went on their website to even read what they were about, what they were promoting, and what they stand for. We all were under the auspice, the belief of them being for all Black Lives Matter. But when you read on their website what they go for, it's not quite the same. I'm sorry, it's just not. So all you black guys out there who are screaming Black Lives Matter, all the black mothers out there who are screaming Black Lives Matter, who have black men for sons, look at yourself and ask, is this really a movement that I want to support with my heart and soul? Because I'm going to tell you something, people, and then I'm going to get back to the discussion, but this is a very serious thing for me, because I read a lot. And a lot of the research that I've been doing for years has been on how they have somehow or another infiltrated the black movements for equality, peace, and just being able to work and live a decent life with their imposters who have come in and trashed everything. They killed Martin. They killed him, assassinated him. And the truth of it is, a lot of the ministers that were with him that day, even including Jesse Jackson, knew what the hell was going to happen. They killed Malcolm, shot him down like a dog in the streets on that stage that day in New York. Had his own people do it. Get your hand out of my pocket, nigga. And then the next thing you know, it's a hail of gunfire. When is it going to stop, folks? How can we get ahead? Black people, I'm talking to my brothers and sisters. I love everybody except for the devil. But this one is for my black brothers and sisters, my Native American brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters who were brought over on the boat from Africa, even my brothers and sisters who came over on the plane from Africa or South America, because they got black folks down there too. This is for you guys. When is it going to stop? When are you going to not be bought? Because that's what's going on. People are being bought and sold like they're at a market. Only difference is now what they're buying and selling is destroying everything, including the people who have nothing to do with it. They're even destroying white businesses, white people, anybody who's against this thing. Let's get into it. So, there is an actress by the name of Melissa Reeves. Okay? Let me go to the screenshot of it. You won't believe this. So, she played Jennifer Horton on the NBC Sutzer on and off for the past 3 decades. She liked several anti-Black Lives Matter posts. Now, this is also going to give you a peek into the mind frame of people who are seeing this Black Lives Matter thing, who also have not read the website's objectives and statements. Because let me tell you something, people. If these other people who happen to be Caucasians happen to read the Black Lives Matter websites, you know what they're going to do? They're going to crack up and laugh. They're going to crack up and fall out of their chairs laughing, and they're going to say, these stupid black people. supporting a movement that isn't even for their own upliftment, but is actually for their detriment and destruction. Because that's what it is. Let me read what she said. But what is also interesting to me is the white people who are supporting it, who may have read the movement's objectives. Do you see how that works, folks? Some of these people know what's going on, and they're all for it because they understand that it means that you will be destroyed. And not you, I'm talking about the black man. For some reason, a lot of people want to kill us. I don't know why. I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe we did something in the past life. I mean, this whole thing is getting crazy because everybody I know is trying to kill us some kind of a way. They couldn't kill us with the food. They couldn't lynch us all to death. And now we've got this type of a thing. But the one thing they do well is kill all our leaders. And they kill all the organizations that actually spring up that are actually for uplifting the black man and the black people. Now, let me say what she said on her post, because this is interesting. Very interesting. And I'm glad that I didn't write this, because if I did, you'd say, oh, A1, you're just talking. No, not this time. I quote, according to its website, Black Lives Matter, Inc. is not a charity. It is a full-fledged corporation that does not have any locations. Can anyone tell me then where the hundreds of millions Black Lives Matter has raised goes? That's a very good question. Can anyone tell me in what state Black Lives Matter was incorporated and by who? Another very good question. She goes on to say, I wonder if we're moving past the point of reconciliation with the left. Maybe we'd all be happier letting them pick a few states they can turn into their own country with, I quote, no guns, no police, no statues, no genders, no flags, no men, and no electricity. Now, what does she mean by no electricity? Because that is it's poetic in a way, but what I think what she's saying is solar roofs, hydroelectric power, things of this nature. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask her. That's not going to happen. But I was very intrigued by no guns, no police, no statues, no genders, no flags, and no men. Makes you wonder, right? Like I said on my previous episode, when you tear down statues, even the statue of Albert Pike, who not a lot of people know about, but he wrote the rights for the KKK. He also was a known Satanist, and he also wrote a letter to a Catholic, I believe, cardinal or priest in South America, the letter to Manzini. You've got to Google this, people. It will blow your mind on how the world can become what the devil wants it to be. And he detailed it, and it would take 3 world wars. If you don't believe A1, people, Google Albert Pike's letter to Manzini. You'll be amazed at what you find. Totally amazed. But if you tear down these structures, which are about vital points in America's history, you not only destroy the history, but you are destroying pieces of America, which we need. Folks, if I didn't skin my knee as a child and have the scar, I would always run on concrete very fast, not carefully, which means I would injure myself again. But every time I see that scar on my knee, I remember that day when I was playing football in the street and it happened after it rained. Okay? Life is like that. You have to see things in order for you to know or remember what happened. Remembering what happened allows you to learn from the mistake of the past experience so that you don't make the same one moving forward in the future. That is very crucial. That is life within itself, because if you can't remember what you did wrong and take a lesson from it, you are doomed to make the same mistakes again. Okay? That's just life. There's nothing around that. Nothing at all. You have to remember what you did wrong so that you will not do the same thing again. This is a little off topic, but I think this needs to be said as well before the end of my show in the next 7 minutes. And then I think what's going to end up happening, people, is we're going to continue this discussion next week. And I'm probably going to end up being able to load in some comedy in this thing. But right now, this needs to be talked about, because a lot of us are being misled. And I don't like to see my brothers and sisters misled by BS. So what A1 found out was that today, if you are filing your taxes as a non-filer to collect the stimulus check that the Congress is giving to Americans because of the pandemic shutdown, once you e-file that as a non-filer, you are filing your taxes for that year, 2019. And so if you do try to file your taxes, really file them, they're going to tell you that you can't because that's a duplicate and your accountant is going to have to do an amendment to it. Okay? I'm telling you this because a lot of people aren't knowledgeable that this is going on. They are just trying to collect free money, and so they just put they didn't earn anything and they file, okay? The truth of it is, it makes sense from a financial standpoint, because I believe that the U.S. is going to claim such a loss this year due to the pandemic that there's a lot of things that are going to change in the nation moving forward in the oncoming years. But if you file as a non-filer, people, that does not mean that you are not filing your taxes. That means that you are filing as a non-filer and that the system will automatically generate a tax return for you for the 2019 business year. Okay? A lot of people didn't know that. Now they do if you watch the show. See, I'm always trying to give you guys little things, you know. I give you a little bit. I can't give you everything, but I give you a little bit. You take it and try to do with it what you will. Maybe it'll help some people. Maybe some other people already knew. But my belief is that a lot of people didn't, because if I didn't know, then that means that a lot of other people didn't either. Moving right along. Time does fly when you're having fun, doesn't it? Getting back to the NAACP with the founding members, there was Ida Wells, Mary Ovington, William Walling, Henry Mouskowitz, Archibald Grimm. Walter White is an honorary mention. He needs to be up there. The man did a lot of stuff for black folks. A lot of stuff. And I don't know why no one has really talked about him, except for that's the name on a television show. But these are the founding members. Now, if you go and you look up these people, it's very interesting what you uncover about them. And the founding members of, because we're going to do a contrast and comparison, the founding members of Black Lives Matter is Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi. Very, very different people, very, very different times of existence, very, very different organizations, even though to the naked eye, it looks like they are all for the same thing. Folks, before I go any deeper into this tonight, let's just end it, and we're going to come back and we're going to do part 2 next week of the Black Lives Matter versus NAACP. The contrast, the history, and the debacle that we now know is going on in our midst, in the world today. Folks, the cameras see a lot, but God sees everything. So you make sure you behave yourself, all right, even when no one's looking. And always do your best, because that will make you do better with whatever it is you're doing. God bless. And I'll see you all next week. Same time, same channel, 8 p.m. I hope you had a great time tonight and you took something with you from this show. Take care. Goodbye.